Nixi, welcome to the show. How are you today?
Good, thank you, Elliot. Thanks for having me on here.
Thank you so much for being here. And how was your morning this morning?
Fantastic. You took me to new horizons, made me do things that I would never have done before. It was really fun, adrenaline filled.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it went by faster than I thought it would.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I proposed the idea of a photo shoot to you, I kind of remember your reaction roughly, but what was going through your mind?
I was like, I can't say no. It's a challenge someone's posing to me, but will I really be ready to it? Will I be able to rise to the challenge?
Uh-huh.
And so in my mind, I had so much going on, but to you, it just came out as a yes, I'll
Yes.
do it. And then after that yes escaped from my mouth, I was thinking, oh my God, what have I signed up to? What am I doing? This is not me. Will I disappoint myself? Will I disappoint you? There was so much going on in my mind. I couldn't believe that I'd actually signed myself up to this challenge.
How do you feel today? You certainly haven't disappointed me.
No,
How did you feel?
I'm so glad that you asked me because had I not embarked on this journey, I would have not seen what I was capable of because I always had a lot of self-doubt. I wasn't sure that I could look a certain way or get to a certain point or have enough discipline. And I guess you proved me wrong.
And you proved yourself wrong in a beautiful way as well.
Yeah.
And what I loved is that I almost had a good feeling that you would say yes, but it wasn't certain. That I was like, I asked one or two other people, and they actually were saying, actually, maybe now isn't the right time. And you're like, I'm in. I'm super in. And like you said, maybe the answer left your mouth before you had time to contemplate it. But I think some of those yeses are the best decisions in life when we don't have enough time to actually contemplate the pros and cons. Because sometimes the more we think about it, the more we're like, maybe it's not the right time. Maybe it's not the right thing for me. But by just jumping in, look what you've been able to achieve off the back of it as well, which is unbelievable, to say the least. So I now want to get started on discussing what brought you here in the first place. We had a conversation and we were discussing this probably around March time last year, so about a year ago now. So what led you to reaching out to me in the first place and starting a journey?
Well, I've always been overweight for a long time, trying this diet, this fad, that fad. So anything that's out there, I've tried it,
Mhm.
I've tested it, and it hasn't always worked because I never actually followed a program, which was nutrition and an exercise regime and support.
Yeah.
The biggest thing was there was never enough support.
Mhm.
And so I was at a place in my life when I was like, oh God, I have to do something about myself because I don't feel well. I don't look my best. I'm not at my optimal. I want to look a certain way. I want to be healthier. I want my daughter to be proud of me. And so then, like I said, I was looking through Instagram and I came across Parrot's post. And when I saw his transformation, I thought, oh my God, he looks amazing.
Mhm.
I really want to be that person too. So maybe I should look at how he did it. And then I came across your Instagram page. And after looking through a few of your posts, I was like, okay, I need to message him and set up a call. And that's exactly what I did.
That's exactly what you did.
Yeah. And yeah, so then we engaged each other at that time. I had the call with you and then I signed up to the program.
Yeah, I remember. Like I said, I was mentioning it on stage yesterday. I think I woke up to the notification that you'd followed, then you'd messaged, then you'd booked a call, and then within like 3 hours, we were on that call. And by the end of the day, you were already signed up and on the program. So I loved the way that you took action. And it's great because a lot of people I find that they almost need to do. I get doing research, and I think that's really important. But sometimes I think there's a such thing as doing too much research and just like continuing to look for, okay, is this the right thing for me? Maybe I should check this. Maybe I should double check this. Maybe I should message a few of my friends to make sure this is the right thing. But I think that you were just like, okay, let me explore this and see if this is the right thing. Okay, I've checked. I've seen an amazing example of a result here. I've looked at the Instagram page. I've had a conversation, and that was enough for you to be like, yeah, this is going to be the right thing for me during this moment. But I think so many people are back and forth and back and forth. And that's what I loved about your journey, is the sense that you just took action right away. And before we do continue to progress throughout the course of your journey, can you go into some of the different things that you tried in the past as well? Like, did you get to a stage when you reached out to me, like a lot of people will find themselves in a position where they feel a bit fatigued by like, "Oh, I have to find another approach or I have to go on another journey." Were you kind of feeling a little bit like that as well, like kind of exhausted by having to go through this process like again in a way?
Most definitely, because like I said, I've tried everything. I've tried Weight Watchers when I was living in England. I've done Slimming World. I've done the Bernstein diet. in Canada, which actually involved you having shots every other day to make sure your body is in ketosis. And you could only eat the exact brands that they have on their list. Um, I've done the Atkins diet. So, like, literally everything. There's the diet where you just eat tomatoes and eggs and drink black coffee. So, there's nothing that I haven't tried. Did Xenical, I did all the pills, and nothing worked. I would lose weight for a while. And then when I came off the products or when I came off the program, within 2 months, I would have put on the same amount of weight, if not more. And so I was just tired of going through the cycle of yo-yoing. And it gets depressing, you know, it starts affecting your mental health. And it had started doing that to me. And I just, like I said, I wasn't feeling good. I was in a bad place and I needed something to give me spark or something to give me a reason to wake up in the morning, you know, like something for myself that I needed to do and say, hey, you know, get up, get out there, do something that's going to make you feel fit, that's going to release dopamine, and you're going to feel good about yourself because you can help other people. But when you feel help yourself, that's the only time that you'll be optimal for even the people around you.
Yeah. So
yeah, I've been on quite a few journeys,
You
and
have
this
been.
one has definitely been the best.
Yeah, and I admire you for not giving up. Like, I think that it's so easy to just accept that this might not be for me. It's like, okay, I'm just going to be overweight, or I'm going to just be like heavier or slightly more unhealthy. And let me just focus on the other things in my life because I just can't work this one out. But you didn't accept that. You were like, okay, I need to find a solution. I want to find a solution. You kept searching for it, even after going down all of those different routes that didn't lead you to the success that you wanted to. And how were the initial stages on the journey? Like, not to talk about how you found the coaching, but how did you find the results? How was the reality? Did it differ much from your expectations, or did it exceed them, or did it match them in terms of what you got from that? Did you find that reason to get up in the morning and have that spark in you again?
Actually, yes. I felt that it was a very, very easy to do program. You know, in the past, when I've done PT coaching and stuff, it's been 2 hours in the gym and then like an hour on the Stairmaster and this, and it was very unsustainable. Whereas I think the first time I did your program for the first week, I said, oh my God, it's so nice, 45 minutes, and I'm at the gym. I'm not there for an hour and a half going through rigorous training, which I just dread. I actually wake up with a spring in my step. I'm like, oh, 45 minutes 3 times a week and I'm done.
Yeah.
I mean, who can't do that?
Exactly.
If you can't take out that much time for yourself out of a day, then you're not investing enough time in yourself. And so that's why I loved the program. It wasn't crazy. It was very realistic. It can fit into my lifestyle. Also with the nutrition, you were so fantastic with it. It's like you didn't take away the things that I loved. You still let me have them. And so, you know, that made a big difference because I'm like, hey, this is a lifestyle. It's not something that I'm just going to do now. And then that's it, which is also why I think my journey took a bit longer because I wanted it to be with me for life. I don't want to lose 10 kilos in 10 days. You know, I want it to be a process over a journey so that later on in life, I'm equipped with those skills to deal with whatever situations come my way.
100%. And I love that you embraced it in that way. And I heard recently from another lady that I work with, and she said to me the same thing. She was like, I'm so glad that when I finish your workouts, I don't feel exhausted, but I feel energized. And she also said that I find it doable. And that's exactly what I try to do, is that I find that if you make it super, super intense, you might get better results, but there's nothing in the way of sustainability. But I also find that if you're too soft, you don't get enough results, and then there's no motivation to continue. So it's just about finding that area in the middle that gets you enough results that also feels like challenging, but a challenge that you can actually do. And I felt like that's what you were able to own in on. And also when we had conversations, you're like, oh, I'm having my afternoon coffee and they put these biscuits on the plate and I have a couple of, I was like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that can be easily factored into your day. We just need to make sure that, yeah, you're doing the right things with your protein, your other meals need to be in a good place. And also you need to sleep a little bit more because you just get up at crazy hours in the morning. You don't do that as much anymore. You sleep a little bit later right now.
I do.
But remember, you're barely having any sleep at all when we first started. So now you're 30 kilos down, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How does that feel, both mentally and physically?
Fantastic. I feel like, oh my God, I can do it. And so obviously I'm still on the journey.
Yes.
But the fact that I dropped the 13 kilos, I never thought I would. I never thought I'd fit into a size 12. And when I fit into that size, I think I messaged you. I'm like, oh my God, Elliot, I fit into these
That
pants.
was the big goal for you. I had it written down in your notes, and I still say it today. I was like, I want to be a UK size 12. That was the big goal for
That's my target reached. That's what I started the program for. And now I'm like, actually, we can go beyond that now because I still think I can look better.
you.
So,
And that's the
yeah.
thing. Like, remember what we discussed earlier when we were in the gym, and you said that when I proposed this initial number to you, like, actually, no, I think it's like very, very far away. It doesn't seem realistic. But what's nice is when you go on this journey and you get closer and closer, it's like you unlock this new level, and you're like, well, okay, that's now only like, let's say at the beginning it was 25 kilos away. You drop 30 kilos. Like, well, that's 12 kilos away. I've already dropped 13. So it's like, okay, like you said, if you take those small steps of like the next 2 kilos, right? And then the next 2 kilos, it seems to be something that becomes a lot more attainable. And for you now, like looking at the next steps of what we want to achieve, I was like, yeah, you've done the 13 kilos. So what stops you from doing the next X amount, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's going to be something that's going to be very exciting. And as you said, this is the first time you're on the journey, and intentionally you've wanted it to be a little bit longer to make sure that these habits have fixed in place. How did you ensure that you remained motivated? Because again, a lot of people will stay on the journey for some time, but then motivation will run out, or their ability to commit to the plan will run out. And we'll go through the story of the email you sent me in just a moment. But how have you kept yourself going even though there's inevitable highs and lows that happen across the course of a year?
For one thing, we have such a great community. EHC in Kenya has a fantastic community. And then obviously I have my micro community composed of Shivali and Parrot. So like anytime I was going to fall off the wagon, I would type on that. I think I even asked like, can I have gelato? And they're like, no, you can't have gelato. But like a community really makes all the difference because on the days that you feel like you can't do it, they just motivate you. And then also I'm sort of the person who's brought on a few people onto the program and I need to motivate them.
Yes.
So if I don't do that, then they're just going to fall off the wagon as well. So it's a domino effect. So that kept me going. That and plus results. And then I had an event that's coming up in April and I wanted to look a certain way. And so that kept me going. And so here I am today.
Here you are today. And it might have not been that way.
No.
And there was an email that I received from you. I remember the moment seeing it. I opened my inbox and it was a very short message. And it's like, Elliot, I think I want to cancel the plan or something along those lines. And I was like, no, this cannot happen. We haven't achieved all the things that we said that we were going to achieve. And I was like, Nixi, we need to get on a call. We need to talk this through. So what was going through your mind in that moment? Because I think a lot of people listening today will be resonating with the fact that they want to quit and they don't think that they can continue doing it anymore. So what was going through your mind to the point that you sent that email? And then ultimately what you got you back on track? Because you're here today in front of us. You've just completed a photo shoot. Like I said, it might have not been. Had I said, okay, I'm just going to cancel and see you later, Nixi, or something like that, obviously I wouldn't. But had that been the case, and I was like, it looks like you've made your mind up. Like, we might not be in this position right now.
Exactly.
So tell me a little bit more about your whole thought process around that and how you came through it, and then how you went into a more committed stage again. Because if it wasn't you wanted to cancel, let's do the photo shoot. It was you wanted to cancel, let's build you back up. And then we proposed the idea of the photo shoot. So explain that a little bit more from your perspective.
So I'd hit a plateau and I couldn't shift it. And so it was getting me really depressed. But part of the reason I couldn't shift it is because there was so many things going on. I was moving house. We had like 100 socials. There was lots of stuff going on. So my eating wasn't clean and we were drinking and like, I was doing the workouts, but obviously I wasn't seeing the results because I wasn't putting in all my efforts. And so I thought, am I just really going to put myself through this? Like, let me just quit and then I'll figure it out later. And that's when in haste, I just quickly typed a message and sent it to you. And it was so good that you reached out because then, like once I had calmed down a bit, I thought, actually, I committed to this program for a reason. If I don't see it through, then I don't know what I can achieve. I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my family down because they all know I've committed to a program. And then just shows I'm weak-minded and I'm not weak-minded. No. So I said, no, I will do it and I will take it slow, but I will make sure I do it. And I think within a few weeks, the kilos started coming down and then I started getting my getting my groove back. And I
Yes.
started feeling like, okay, hang on, we're getting somewhere now. So just let's stick with the program. And I did.
Yeah, I think that's an important thing to mention is that we lowered the expectations of what you needed to achieve in the week, and we also lowered the expectation on what goals you needed to achieve in a certain time frame as well. So maybe that's something that the listeners can take away from is that if you're going for a moment like that, maybe it's a case because I think that we just were in a position where you start these really ambitious ideas of like, I need to do all of this and I need to reach this goal as
Mhm.
well. And that's something I try to be very flexible of is recognizing that life comes in its waves, and sometimes it's super heavy and hectic and intense, and other times it's a little bit calmer. And, I think when we started, it was maybe in more of a calmer phase, or at least a more predictable phase for you. That's probably the right way to put it. And then it became very unpredictable. So the thing is, what we got to recognize is that like the expectations needed to change. So when I was like, okay, maybe we just need to reach, I don't know, like this amount of kilos or like 1 kilo in the next 6 weeks in terms of instead of just trying to achieve it in two. I felt that that gave you a lot of peace, and you're like, oh, actually, maybe it's not so difficult. And then, like you said, after that small amount of momentum you're able to build, you're on your way again, right?
Exactly. But it's also thanks to you because had it been someone else, they'd be like, oh no, you're not achieving your results. I don't think this is going to work out. This relationship isn't going to work out because
Yeah.
you are my product. And at the end of the day, if you're not performing, then this is just not going to work, which has happened in the past. So I'm so glad that you came back to me and pushed me to stay on the program because had you not been you, I would have not been here.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, I said it to Shivali earlier. It's like I have this good sense of the potential I see in people. And it's like, I know, like it pulls on my heart a little bit when someone's not going to follow through on what I believe that they can achieve because I know how good that that can feel. And it's just like, oh, I can't see this not happen because again, like I get emotionally involved in terms of your process and the person that you are. And we had a couple of conversations before that. We communicated on a regular basis. And I was like, I know that there's so much more for you, and I'd already seen what you achieved. So I was like, yeah, we can't do this. But luckily we didn't. And that's why we're in the room today. And we're going to continue on this journey as well, which is going to be amazing and continue to achieve a lot of amazing things. So if you could go back in time and speak to the previous version of Nixie, maybe when she was about to start this journey, what few pieces of advice would you give to her?
Stick to the program. When you feel you're falling, lean on the people who are in the same community to get help from them because sometimes all you need is one person to say, hey, it's okay, you got this, I've
Yeah.
been there and that's all right. There's a reason there's a community. Reach out to you so that you always know the right things to say to pick us up when we're feeling low. And the main thing is like we all have bad days, but the thing
Yes.
is you have to ride it out. And at the end of it, you'll always be happier. It's just short time. It's a short time feeling, and then
Yeah.
you have long term.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the right way to articulate it, but you know what I'm trying to
No, I know
say.
what you're trying to
Yeah.
say in the sense that like those short-term feelings shouldn't impact those long-term changes
Goals.
and decisions that you want to
Exactly.
make in your life, right? And that's like you said, you sent that message in haste. It wasn't
Yeah.
something that you'd consciously thought about. So just, and this is the thing, I speak about this all the time, is that when we get overwhelmed in life, it's like, well, what can we get rid of that's going to just make things a little calmer? And it's like, okay, well, family commitments, can't get rid of those. Work commitments, can't get rid of those. And social commitments, it doesn't seem like I'm able to get rid of those. And it's like, well, health and fitness is something that I could probably just like take a little bit step back on for a while, and I'll take that out, and that might be easier. And I say it to a lot of people, it's like, okay, it'll relieve you temporarily, but then that issue is going to come back. And that's another thing with yourself as well. As like, I knew you still wanted to achieve the goal. If
Mhm.
someone turns around, they're like, actually, I don't want to achieve this anymore. I'm actually completely content with where I am. I was like, okay, perfect. Like, mission accomplished in that sense. But I knew you still wanted to, and I know that most people are in that stage that they do want to keep working on their journey. So obviously that's kind of like a chapter one, or as we can say, of
Mhm.
that journey as well. So when it came to the photo shoot and the commitment that you made to that as well, I think there was many moments where you're like, I want to look just as sharp as the other guys, or like, Elliot, the weight's not moving. What did that photo shoot journey look like compared to the initial stage of the fat loss journey that we went through together?
Oh gosh, so build up to the photo shoot was stressful. Only because I have such fantastic colleagues on the journey with me, right? Because obviously Shivali looks fantastic, Parrot looks fantastic, and because my
And you
journey
look
is not,
fantastic as well.
yes, but I'm not at there. I want to be where they are,
Sure.
hopefully later this year. But because I'm obviously along the way on the journey. I'm just halfway on phase one. I felt I felt scared. I felt nervous. I was like, oh my God, they have lines, they have cuts. I don't have those. Like, Elliot, I have a little shadow of an ab showing through today. Can you see it? So it was daunting. But then I had to sit down and have a chat with myself and say, you know what? Their journey is theirs and mine is mine.
Yes.
From where I've come a long way for myself, and you have to look at it as your own personal journey. You can't compare yourself to someone else. And so that's when I realized, hey, actually, it's okay. You'll be fine. And this was just yesterday. It's like, you know what? I'm going to be fine. Like they look like how they do, but their journey has been theirs. They've done it for this
Yes.
long or they've done it for this reason. We all have our reasons why we're here and they're all different.
Yeah, 100%. And you mentioned to me earlier, you're used to being behind the scenes, not in front of the camera.
Yes.
You spent rather a lot of time in front of the camera today. How did that feel?
Oh my God, it was so nerve-wracking. And first of all, I didn't know where to look because I'm just not that photo person. I take the photos, I'm just never in the photos. So I'm interested to see what they look like at the end of it. But you know what? It was such a feeling of gratification that, you know, you appreciated the efforts we put in,
Yes. 100%.
and so it was, when your teacher gives you like an A star and you feel like, wow, you've really achieved something. I
Yeah.
felt like that today.
Yeah, you all got A stars today. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about it. And you all deserve those A stars. Because as I said to Shivali in the last conversation, is that everything you see in those photos is a culmination of all the effort that you've made. Like, again, it's nothing but your own journey. And many times, obviously, you saw parents side by side, and that's what motivated you. When we eventually put a side by side of you together as well, it'll probably be even more impressive to be like, wow, like I maybe look to the left and I see the version of myself in the past. Like, okay, we're not even close to that anymore. And then there's this other one on the right hand side who's wearing her all red set, confident, holding a barbell, being instructed by my wife on how to pose as well, and really owning that as well. So I think it's going to be an amazing feeling when you get them back. So I'm excited to see that as well. And I'm excited to hear what would you like to achieve next. Well, obviously, you mentioned that we're on phase one of the journey. You mentioned November. We're planting seeds for my wife and I to come back. So where would you like to be by November?
Well, obviously, I would like to reach my target weight.
Yep.
And then after that, I really want to sculpt. I want a sculpted body. Essentially, that's what it is. I want peaches. I want abs. And that's what I'm going to be working towards next.
Perfect.
And obviously, the main goal of this whole program is sustainability. It is becoming a lifestyle for me.
Yeah.
Everyone has noticed the change, not only in my body, but in my attitude towards food. I'm going out, I'm making healthier choices. I actually feel really good when I put good stuff into my body.
Yeah.
So I won't have the fried chicken, I'll have the grilled chicken and a salad. And I feel fantastic. It's the feel good factor after. For that one moment of gratification, we sometimes just sacrifice ourselves. And you realize, oh my God, 1 minute of fried chicken, but it wasn't that satisfying. When you eat a good meal, you feel the gratification long term,
Yeah.
So
100%.
yeah, I want that to be my life.
I'm going to remember those lines now. Like I had UK size 12 in my mind, and I would have peaches, sculpted abs, and obviously a lifelong change. I'm not gonna forget those at all. So I want you to now speak to the people who are maybe in that position where they've tried all the diets in the world. They've not seen the success that they wanted to. What would be your advice to those people? And again, it's not necessarily like, and this is always what I want this conversation to be about. It's your journey and what works for you, not like, sign up to this plan or join Elliot or whatever it might be. It's more a sense of like, what did you need to hear in that moment that you think it would be valuable for them to hear right now?
There is absolutely no quick fix. There's no fast way to get results. You have to trust the process. Take your time, like you could be losing 100 grams a week, but 100 grams a week over 52 weeks is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to take small wins, small steps, and don't be in a rush. Because I find that a lot of us want instant results, and because of that, we fail. And once I realized that, you know what, just do it slowly, it will be sustainable. I mean, it's taken me quite a while to lose my 13 kilos, but I know it's never going to come back because I did it.
Yeah.
With everything that I love doing still in my life.
Yes.
So it's not going to come back now.
And when did the penny really drop for you when it came to there is no quick fix here? When did you truly integrate that and be like, yeah, this is the moment where I'm like, okay, I'm not going to keep trying to search for the new thing or get shiny object syndrome, or like, oh, this, there's a new TikTok trend that maybe I'm gonna try.
I mean, I did TikTok abs.
You did do TikTok abs.
Yeah. Um, it's shortly after the last program I tried because it was, it's the GM diet. That's what it's called. So I tried that and I was eating all these funny foods and you could only eat that. And I was like, is this going to be sustainable? I can't go out to eat. I can't socialize. I'm a very social person. I have so much going on. I can't just lock myself in my house. And then I realized that, okay, I don't want to lose 16 pounds in 16 days. I can lose 16 pounds in 16 weeks. That's different. And that's never going to come back. So now just shut your eyes, stop thinking of quick gratification and take your time. And so it was just shortly after I reached out to you, before I reached out to you for your program, that I said, look, nothing is working out. I need to find something that's actually going to be a lifestyle for me. 100%. I've done so many things. Now it's time to grow up and be a bit adult about my decision and want to see things over long term.
And the part that amazes me about this is that whilst everyone is looking for this short-term fix, they're still taking a long time to get there, right? So it's short-term fix, short-term fix, short-term fix, never real solution. And then it lasts decades. And like you mentioned, it's like, well, actually, if you just dropped 0.1 kilos per week every week for that decade, or you wouldn't even need a decade, for 5 years, and you just took the steadier approach. And I don't want it to be the slow approach because I find that can be just as unmotivating as, not following anything that actually is sustainable. But if you recognize how much, that's what I say to a lot of people, how much time, energy, money that you've invested into a plan that hasn't actually truly worked, like, why don't you try something that, so what if it takes a little bit longer? Like, you've already been trying to work this out for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So what if it takes another year longer than you expect just because of you're going to do it in a way that is sustainable? Because when I have conversations with people when they first start, I ask them what they can commit to. And a lot of people are like, I can go to the gym every single day. I'm like, oh, that's great. But for how long? Like, maybe I can do it for the next 12 weeks. Or I'm like, okay, this is going to last 1 week, So I'm like, much better for us to go down route saying, okay, like you said, 3 times a week, 45 minutes. Who can't do that? And let's maintain that and let's sustain that and then see what comes off the back of that as well. And you mentioned just now that you are a very social person. So what are your go-to strategies when it comes to the social occasions in order to make sure that you stay true to the success that you want to have on this journey?
I mean, it's making small changes. It's like maybe drinking drinks with less calories. So like switching to like a vodka soda water instead of a vodka and Coke. And then being more mindful about what I eat and then having fewer drinks. Like if instead of having 5, I'll have 3. And then I haven't really had to tell anyone that, hey, I love sweet stuff. So for me, it's saying, hey, if I'm going for a coffee, I'm not having the cake. It's just a black coffee. Yeah. And if I want, I'll have my small cookie. I will not eat the cake. Yeah. So that's my biggest vice. And that's been the hardest part for me. But it's not to say that I don't have it. No. It's just not all the time. Yep. I allow myself treats sometimes.
And again, if you didn't, then I think that would just bring you back to square one again, right? It would be like that restriction kicking in and there's like, is this really going to work? Is this really the life I want to live as well? That's an important part to me as well on this journey, is that like I don't want people to stop enjoying their lives as well. It's like, okay, you do have to make some sacrifices, fair enough. You still have to exercise discipline in certain areas, but if you're at a point where nothing is enjoyable in terms of the exercise you do and the nutrition that you do, like I don't want to create miserable people and great bodies, right? I want to create happy people with incredible bodies that, maybe like takes it's not even a long time. It's just longer than is typically promised. And maybe that's the shift that maybe needs to happen in the industry altogether, is that we have to have this expectation that results don't happen like that. They don't come yesterday, even if we wanted them to. So I think that with that change in place, I think it would make a really big difference. So we know what's next for you. Yes. Do you think beyond that point of when you reach that goal, like how do you think you're going to feel when that time comes around, when you're like, I've reached that specific number or that specific feeling? How do you feel that day will feel for you?
I mean, I think I'll feel fantastic. I'll feel like $1 billion. And then we'll see what to do next, because then mobility will come into play. So I do have a plan of the things I want to achieve. So after that, there will always be something, because self-improvement never ends, right? No. You always want to be a better version of yourself. So yeah, the journey will continue.
It will. I'm very pleased that you didn't end up following through on that email that you sent to me. And I'm so glad that
So
we're
am
here.
I.
And I'm so glad to see all that you've achieved. I'm glad that we've ticked the box of the UK size 12 and now features, sculpted abs, and a lifelong change is definitely in my mind. So thank you so much for taking on the challenge of the photo shoot as well. Like I said, you didn't hesitate and you jumped in, both feet in and ready to take action. And I feel like you've achieved a lot of beautiful things. And I know we're going to continue to achieve a lot of beautiful things together. So thank you so much for committing and thank you so much for having this conversation with me today.
Thank you, Elliot.
My pleasure.
Thanks.